Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. We're going to go ahead and get started. We've got one board member that's remote tonight and two that will be arriving just a little bit after the meeting begins. So, but we do have a quorum. So it's April 8th, 2025. I call this regular meeting of the PCSSD School Board to order. Ms. Smith, would you please call the roll?
Ward. Tate.
Here.
Hi, Miss Tate. Dr. Tate. Me, Potter. Here. Maynard.
Here.
Keller. Delaney.
Present? Okay. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. That brings us to our first item on the agenda, which is our celebrations and recognitions. We have our student board member is here tonight, and she will be introduced by Ms. Morgan Dickerson.
Good evening. I'm here to introduce DeKyron Collins. DeKyron is a junior at Maumelle High School who's overcome significant challenges to achieve academic success. Following the pandemic, she experienced anxiety and uncertainty about attending school, leading her to transition between in-person and virtual learning in search of the best fit. Despite facing difficulties in both settings, she persevered and eventually discovered the alternative learning environment where she thrived in a hybrid instructional model. Determined to catch up academically, DeKyron embraced the support of her in-person teachers while navigating online coursework. Her hard work and resilience paid off. Though classified as a ninth grader during the 23-24 school year, she regained her credits and classified as an 11th grader in January of 2025. Beyond academics, DeKyron is an active member of FCCLA and Young Ladies of Excellence, where she's been given numerous opportunities to speak as a representative of ALE. She's maintained the AB Honor Roll throughout the year and is recognized as the third 9 weeks Telco Federal Credit Union Business and Service Academy's most improved student. DeKyron is looking forward to her inevitable transition back into the mainstream classroom. DeKyron's journey is a testament of perseverance, adaptability, and the power of determination in the face of adversity. We're so proud of you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Dickerson. And DeKyron, welcome. You are our student board member. Congratulations. You are free to speak on anything you want tonight. If you have any questions, just act like a normal board member. The only thing you cannot do is vote, okay? Well, you can, but I'll probably catch it, okay? So, welcome and enjoy. Okay, our next item on the agenda are student recognitions with Dr. Whitfield.
Which one do you want first? Our Diamond Award winner.
Good afternoon. So it brings me great pleasure to introduce to you, to the board and to our audience, a student. This student is Jemiah McCoy. She wasn't able. Okay. Well, Coach Gray, will you come up, and Mr. Bradford? So Jemiah is a student at Success Learning Academy, and she was recently awarded the Diamond Award, which is a coveted award in the ALA community. So her teacher who nominated her said, "Finding the words to describe the greatness of Jemiah is hard. She is truly going to go beyond her expectations and do absolutely great things. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of the Diamond Award." Brady Bratcher. administrator at SLA. Similar sentiments were said, also said about her dedication. She's a great young lady who is motivated to complete her assignments and be successful. We're very proud of Jemiah and excited that such a deserving student is being recognized. So I'm going to let Coach Bray and Mr. Bratcher kind of tell about the award and the Capitol visit.
So this is an award recognized to a stellar student in the state. We nominated her. From my understanding, the district has never had a Diamond Award winner. Thank you. So she's done a great job with us. Like our board member, we are hopeful and ready for her to go back to the regular setting and have success. She's a wonderful student, like most of our kids are, all of our kids. They just, middle schoolers, and sometimes we act crazy when we're in middle school, but they're all great kids. Sometimes they get the tag of being an ALE student, but at the heart of it, they're all great kids, and they're there to learn, and we wrap our arms around them every day and do the best by them every single day. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I just want to say this, that a student in ALE does not mean that it's a behavior, or sometimes we just do better in a smaller setting. And we just want to give those students the opportunities they need to be successful. So congratulations, Jemiah, and tell her we're very proud of her. So our next group that we're celebrating is Maumelle High, the basketball team from Maumelle High. So Maumelle High, as you all know, traveled down to Hot Springs and played in a championship game. They didn't bring home the trophy they wanted, but they worked hard. Became a wonderful team, worked hard, and I expect to see them back there next year with the trophy they want. So if you'll please stand. So at this time, I want to call up Coach Shook. You have to have something special about you to spend so much time with a group of young men, so we commend you. But I want to read something your principal submitted. It said, Coach Michael Shook has been with PCSSD since 2007. He's been the head boys basketball coach for Maumelle High School since 2012. He has 8 conference championships and 4 state championship appearances. This year, he was named the 5A Central Coach of the Year, and the Maumelle, of course, was the state runner-ups under his leadership. This is his 5th time being named Coach of the Year in his career. So I about your team or your experience.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Obviously, none of those awards or recognitions are even remotely possible without wonderful young men like these guys. They put in a lot of time and hard work. They are extremely committed to the program, to the school, the community, the school district. They have represented in a very good manner, both on and off the court. Several of our guys that are seniors will be going on to play at the next level and play college basketball. The younger guys, they will also have those opportunities as well. In addition to these guys, some of we promote multi-sport athletes, so all of our players, obviously, we didn't only play with 5 guys, but we do have some that are in track and baseball, and they had games and track meets and things like that, so that's why some of them weren't able to make it. But I also want to give a big recognition to my assistants, Coach Toombs and Coach Hall. None of this would have been possible without them. But I just, like I said, it's such an honor. We appreciate, thank you all for inviting us here, recognizing these young men. They definitely deserve that and any other accolade available because of all of the hard work that they've put in.
Next up, we have Mills High, so I'll go ahead and invite the coaches up. I had the pleasure of being able to go to Hot Springs and watch this game. I felt like I was one of your assistant coaches. So, Mills High, come on up. I'd like to introduce to you the state champions, Mills High. So you guys represented us very well. We're very proud of all the hard work that you put in, and it definitely paid off. So, Coach Cooper. Coach Cooper has won Coach of the Year for the 5th time. He has won his 6th Coach of the Year award this year. Coach Cooper, of course, and his team won their 4th state title. Wow. In 7 years? Coach Cooper, come on up.
First, I want to thank my staff because it's a team, but the staff is a team. They do a lot of work that I don't want to do. And so I appreciate all the things, the small things behind the scenes that nobody sees that, they don't get credit for. So today I want to definitely know I could not do it without you guys. I believe I got the best coaching staff in the world. So I appreciate you guys. Coach Flowers, he's been with me from North a long time. We can't keep up with it. And Coach Campbell, who came in her first year, was dynamite. And, she came from the college ranks. She was overqualified for the position when we hired her. So we are just elated with what she's done to improve our staff. And to the guys who worked really hard, they told me before the season they were going to do it. They actually told me they were going to go undefeated. And I looked at them like, yeah, really. Yeah. But they got close. They only lost 1 game. So...
Thank you guys for representing PCSSD, and we'll be waiting for next year.
Oh, I got one more thing.
Absolutely.
I want to thank all of you guys and the Mills alumni, the teachers, the staff. It was so much support going into it. It was probably this year more support than we've ever had before. And so I really want to thank all of y'all because it really means the one thing we didn't want to do is let everybody down. So I appreciate all the support that you guys and all the things that you did that did not go unnoticed. And we really, really appreciate it. And I don't want to leave here without saying that.
We have one more celebration. Lauren Jewell. Lauren Jewell. Come on down. Lauren Jewell from Maumelle. Welcome, and we're glad you're here. Won the National Association of Federal Education Program Administrators Scholarship. She is the very first recipient in Arkansas to receive this honor. So we're so proud of you, and we would So she's going to tell you about her scholarship.
So I got this scholarship from my counselor secretary, Miss Beaver. It was just on our long list of scholarships, and I applied, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get money, but I did. And that was a blessing. And then the woman emailed me, and she said, you should apply for the national one. And then I got another email, and they gave me more money, and then I got half. So, yeah, I'm very happy. Thank you so
Well,
much.
congratulations, we're very proud of you, and it says something to be the only one in the state of Arkansas. See, no one will ever be able to take that away from you. So it feels good to be able to celebrate our students and our staff. I mean, that's what it's all about. So we appreciate everybody, from the bus drivers, and I say this all the time, the bus drivers, cafeteria workers, secretaries, teachers, custodians, everybody plays a part, coaches, in shaping these children, and we're very excited and very happy for the work that all of you pour into our students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Whitfield and everybody. Our next item is recognition of, yeah, let's take a second. Okay, our next one is a brief recognition of our elementary principals that have been nominated for their positions for next year.
Board members, I'd like to present to you the two individuals who are on the hire sheet for you to consider tonight with our recommendation for these two critical jobs in the elementary schools here in the district. The first one is going to be Miss Tracy Bailey. Miss Bailey, if you don't mind, come up, please. Miss Bailey has been with the district for 29 years. I guess all of her education career?
32.
All right. 2 others. 22 years at Sherwood Elementary. She was a math and literacy instructional coach at Robinson Elementary. She was an assistant principal at Crystal Hill. She was the interim principal at Harris. And now we will recommend tonight that you give her the privilege of being the principal at Harris Elementary. The other is Miss Whitney Abdullah, with being recommended for the Sherwood Elementary principal. Miss Abdullah is the current assistant principal at Jacksonville Middle School. She has been an assistant principal there at Jacksonville Elementary. She was the interim principal at Bobby G. Lester Elementary. She was assistant principal at Lone Oak High School, but most importantly, she was the PE teacher at Harris Elementary. So she has history in the district as well. And Miss Abdullah is the other recommendation that we will make to you tonight for Sherwood Elementary. It's my pleasure to introduce these two people. Thank you for letting me do that.
All right, it's a little bit of a trust exercise because you haven't been approved yet, but
That's right.
we'll see what happens. I've not seen one fail yet. Okay, that brings us down to our public comments. We have quite a few tonight. We allow each speaker 3 minutes for public comments. I will keep time for us tonight. Our responsibility is to listen to your comments. It is board policy that we do not respond or discuss your comments during this time. You have First Amendment rights during your 3 minutes. My polite request is that for any complaints involving a staff member, please consider whether it is necessary to name that staff member in order to make your point. One moment. Our first speaker tonight is Brittany Walker.
Hello, board.
Hey.
Typically, I do come as a parent with College Station and someone that's within the community. But I'm coming today, I'm not an employee with the district, but you guys, my husband did previously work for the district. He was a support staff. Just to kind of give you a little background, we're from this community as well. Prior to working with the district, he was a volunteer for 3 years. So it's not about the money or the pay. He do it because a lot of these kids are within our community and he's very impactful. So just to kind of get in, I know I got 3 minutes, so I'm going to be straightforward. For one, when I leave here, I do continue to watch the board meetings. I am just disappointed in the display of character that was displayed last board meeting with the name calling, the getting up, leaving when conversations got difficult or tough. To me, that that alarmed me, seriously, because if any of you all up here cannot handle difficult conversations, you don't need to be in the seat because it's going to be expected. And another thing, too, just to go back to that, I know you guys are tired of hearing it. Like, I was just overwhelmed listening to this board meeting to the point, I don't even want my kids in this district. I'm thinking about just moving them because the confrontations, the back and forth, just the outbursts, you can do what you want to do, accept your flowers. I don't mind anyone getting their flowers, nominations. That was a spit in our face, knowing what your board representative did. I'm not going to call names. I'm not going to get, I'm not going to get all excited about it because what she said is what she said. But what really bothered me, every time I try to forget about it, because she never apologized for her ice comment, I looked at that student that passed at that school, Karen. Do you all know she had a GoFundMe account so she can get funds so her mom can get her body shipped back to Honduras? As a mother, I thought about it. What will prevent a parent from coming to get their deceased child body? It's the incite and entice of all of this ice baby, who's legal, who's immigrants. So it's not that her comment, it wasn't a joke because these are impacting people's lives. You had a student that died in your district that's over here with her aunt, and her mom could not even come over here to get her body. And they raised funds to get her shipped back to Honduras. And again, I thought about it. What would prevent? Nothing will stop me from getting my kids. I don't care how far or near they are, what resources I have or not. But when you make comments in light of that, those are the things I think about. And don't even have the dignity to apologize to save face. That's another issue with me. When you do something and the intent is not what it is, at least apologize to save face. You don't even have that. It's basically just no character. It's coward. Coward behavior is displayed. So that's just what I had to say. I didn't even get the chance to talk about the salary, but I will just address it in the next meeting. It will be addressed. So she's pretty much coward behavior.
Our next speaker is Juanita Kroon.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Were you here last time? Did you
Yes,
come
yes,
I'm so
yes.
sorry.
Yeah, but some stuff just make me cry. I'm a big old crybaby. I love people, first and foremost, but okay, I'm together. So, and just to reiterate on every time I'm coming up here, it's about our classified staff. We haven't heard any announcements on if any of us will be let go right now. But I know we are next because that is just the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose. But I do want to read the remaining of our classified titles. Assistant to the Executive Director of Operations, Buyer, Executive Assistant to Superintendent, Facilities, and, they already got a raise, I'm sorry. A Family Engagement Specialist, Mr. White, I love you. K-12, Alternative Learning Program Support Specialist, Project Manager, Route Supervisors, Speech Pathologists, Student Service Liaisons, Budget Managers, and all levels, because it's a few, marketing, communications facilitators, operations managers, payroll supervisors, staff accountant, behavioral intervention specialist, brand coordinator, applications developer, coordinator of energy and project management, coordinator of maintenance operation, coordinator of maintenance, IT help desk manager, and network security, that is I. IT infrastructure engineers, and our adult ed, CNAs, public information specialists, registered nurses, senior applications developers, technology project manager, library media, technology facilitator. Oh, her role just changed, so she will be moved. I think that's on y'all's agenda. She will be moved to a certified position. Instructional and professional development facilitator, and sadly, and one of my favorite people, and we need her in our district, and I think her position has changed. I think it's being frozen. Director of Safety and Security, IT Applications Development and State Reporting Coordinator, Lead IT Infrastructure Engineer and Cybersecurity Analyst, Behavioral Specialist, Coordinator of Health, Director of Accounting and Audit and Student Nutrition, Educational Audiologist, Occupational Therapist, Physical Therapist, Psychology Examiners, Speech Language Pathologist, Director of School Maintenance Services, Director of Plant Planning, Director of Transportation, Instructional Technology and Digital Learning Facilitator, and our Senior Technology Professional Development. And that's all of my titles, and next time I will be talking about more of the things that we want to see for our support staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our next speaker is Ms. Lisa Smith.
Good evening, members of the board and community patrons. We are here today on behalf of scholars and educators to ask you to reconsider the decision to freeze the positions of the Director of STEM and Blended Learning as well as the Director of Humanities and Learning Services as listed in the consent agenda. We're also asking that this item be removed from the consent agenda and voted on separately with thoughtful consideration. High-quality professional learning, curriculum alignment, and instructional support don't happen by chance. They happen because someone is guiding that work strategically and relentlessly. And for us, it has been those two positions. Curriculum directors aren't just positions on an organizational chart. Their roles are vital to the success of our schools. They are the backbone of high-quality instruction and alignment across the district. They ensure that what happens in the classroom every day is coherent and standards-based. Without this content-focused leadership, we lose the momentum that we've gained in implementation, in our teacher development, the development of our instructional coaches, and most importantly, student achievement. Whoever proposed this item and slid it between the pages of the consent agenda seemed to think it's possible for one person to effectively complete 52 different job tasks from multiple disciplines while keeping us in compliance. We've tried that before, and it didn't work. Freezing these positions sends a clear message to the educators of this district. It says that supporting instruction is optional, that sustaining the academic growth we've acquired is not really important, that being compliant with the ever-changing demands of LEARNs is not required, and that our students can wait for an updated curriculum. Trust me, the one person that you hire as a Director of Learning Services will not be able to keep up with the demands of English, math, science, social studies, foreign language programs, CTE, computer science, interpreting LEARNs, analyzing data, and let's not forget task number 52 that is on their job description. Perform other duties as assigned by the superintendent or deputy superintendent. I urge you to weigh the long-term impact of this decision. Maintaining strong instructional leadership is not a luxury, it's a necessity. If we're serious about student outcomes and supporting our educators, then we must keep these positions, both positions, active and filled. Otherwise, other school districts are waiting to take the high-quality teachers that we have trained the high-quality instructional coaches we've trained, because they won't stay in this school district, not if it's going to sink academically. So basically, a freeze in these positions equates to rifting the core curriculum. Thank you for your time.
Okay, our next speaker is Kim Truslow.
So I don't have everything written down as neatly as Lisa. I'm sure she's not surprised. But I want to talk to you from my heart and from these principals' hearts, as well as teachers, parents, and students inside of our district. And I really couldn't have brought this before you on a better night. You have heard about 2 award winners in our board, our student board member, who have been a part of our ALE here in our district. You had a middle school winner tonight of a state award that came from PCSSD ALE. And I also want to let you know that ALE has been awarded top academic awards within the last 3 years, our district has. So I'm concerned, as my fellow principals as well, that we are totally revamping, basically cutting the ALE programs. And I don't know that the board members are aware of that, and I needed for you to know that. So basically what we're saying is that the middle school ALE will be totally disbanded, cut, and put 1 classroom at each middle school. So those students will not receive the services that they've been receiving before. They also will be part of the middle school general population. So when a student is brought up for expulsion, recommendation, or whatever the circumstances are, they will be riding the same school buses. They will be a part of the general populations at the middle schools. Elementary, we have nothing. So our ALE has totally been disbanded. I can speak from my own personal experience at my school. I currently have a kindergarten student whose parents called our district, found out that we do not have an ALE placement available. They were recommended within a neighboring school district to go. She was told, you're going to ALE. So to circumvent that process, she enrolled at my school and changed her address. So that is what we are running into within our district. And it's a challenge. So we want to make sure that all of our students are receiving the correct placement when they're coming to us from neighboring school districts, so we can provide like placement, like services. We've heard about the wonderful ways it's helped this high school student. We've heard about middle school student, just services that our students really, really need. So I would ask you, there are some agenda items tonight specifically cutting the middle school ALE positions, disbanding it, moving those people to other locations. The elementary's already gone. It was gone as of the end of last school year, and now we're paying for that. So I would ask that that be reconsidered and that the board really think about what's the message that we want to send to our parents, that your students are going to be safe at school, that they are going to receive the best education they can in the classroom that is best for them without learning disruptions. So consider that, board, and I appreciate your time.
Okay. Our next speaker tonight is Marie Hollowell. Marie.
Good evening. My name is Marie Hollowell, and I am the president of the Little Rock Branch NAACP. I first have to ask, are we heading back to November 30th, 1982? You know, there's a saying that if you don't remember your history, you are bound to repeat it. I visited the College Station School last week, and as I walked around, I looked and thought, is this campus like any other campus? It was not. The only thing that brought me back to reality is when a line of students came up and they waved with big smiles, and one of the students asked for a hug. That moment reminded me why I'm here and why I'm fighting daily. My tour started with a storm-damaged building. My first thought was, how long this has been like this? Then I thought, because she told me that there were 8 classrooms there that are now in 3 classrooms, with rooms that are leaking, and they were covered with a tarp right before my visit. I heard that they were waiting on insurance money, but I had to think, was this built, could this have been prevented in 1982 or even in 2022 after a barn restructuring and the school was promised funds from that. Because that kind of damage didn't happen overnight, how often did the complaints of the school go unheard or fixed with a patch or tarp bandage? While students at a dry Maumelle Middle School received a new track, an indoor practice facility, a softball and baseball field, and safe students at Sylvan High School received a new band room. I was told that it was the district's responsibility to keep students dry, warm, and safe. But at what cost have we overlooked that? The basic needs of students should always come before amenities. Yet when the bond structuring literature along with the sample ballot was presented to the public, the top 3 schools listed were Mills, Harris, and College Station. These projects boasted how they would increase property value. How misleading was that document? Was it created to fool the areas that you have been fooling for over 40 years just to get the vote passed? You all should be ashamed that in this day and age, students are still learning in such environments. The enrollment numbers for both schools is over 90% minority. So why do we serve on the school board? Is it for the title? Is it for you to help the schools that already have everything? Or are you here to support those communities that look like you? If that's okay, I'm here to tell you that it's not okay. I am demanding that the College Station and Harris Elementary be placed at the top of every list that you all have. And I don't mean covering things up with a tarp, ditches, planks. I mean real change. We will not stop fighting until all students have a safe environment and warm place to go to school that they are proud of. The McClellan interveners are not wrong. The same care that has gone into other schools in predominantly white areas is expected in these schools. And on another note, we find it incomprehensible that a board member would make such a derogatory comment on social media and the school board has not acted on it.
Thank you, Ms. Hollowell. Our next speaker is Melanie Leffler.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Leffler. I am a teacher at Robinson High School. I am a certified dyslexia interventionist, and I'm here tonight just to talk to you a little bit about dyslexia, what it means, and what it means for our classified dyslexia interventionists not to receive a raise and hopefully some extra services. So interventionists like myself and the classified interventionist provide dyslexia services to students who have been identified as having dyslexia or have characteristics of dyslexia. What does that mean? These students can be our future Whoopi Goldbergs, Muhammad Ali, Steven Spielbergs, Magic Johnson, Salma Hayek, Henry Ford, or one of my favorite authors, Patricia Placco. These are people who have dyslexia but have very successful careers in sports, entertainment, and all different areas of our living. Students that struggle with learning to read in the classroom have amazing potential outside of the classroom. They are out-of-the-box thinkers. They have great imaginations. They're amazing kiddos. What we do as interventionists is we teach our students using a program that uses explicit, systematic, sequential, and cumulative direct instruction using a multisensory approach in the foundations of reading. Now that's a mouthful. We sit down with kids, we figure out what they need, and then we provide it for them. And we use a very specific program called Sonde, and we use that to reach our students. We provide instructions in small groups in the classrooms. Some of us have our own classrooms, some of us are out in the hallway, and like me, I'm in a gym closet, which is fabulous and I love it because it's nice and big, but again, we are all over the place in terms of where we're at. At the high school, I am a certified teacher because I teach a class called academic reading. For those in the elementary and middle school, they are classified staff because they are not a teacher of record. So there are 2 different staff members that teach dyslexia. Students are provided with interventions during the school day. Younger students are scheduled based on their needs and the time of day that the interventionist can schedule. For me, I am given a class schedule. I am provided with students, and then I teach them during the day, during our classes. As an interventionist, we set up our schedules for our students based on their needs, classes, and where we can place them. So we assess our students, we figure out what groups we can put together, and then we start teaching them. In the elementary school, that is very hard to do sometimes. In the high school, I actually have already started for next year. So our interventionists are amazing teachers, and they deserve a little bit of a pay bump. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gabby Mendola. I'm sorry. I should have done, I'm sorry.
Good evening, yes, Mendiola.
Sorry.
So Ms. Leffler and a small group of my colleagues are here again for the second time. Don't know if you guys remember me from last time. Today I come as a different person. Last time I was here, we talked about the race, how we were happy that a lot of our other colleagues have been getting pay raises, but that we have been forgotten. A few weeks after that meeting, I became very ill. I mentioned last time that I worked 2 jobs for 5 years. I've been a dyslexia interventionist at Mills Middle. And at night I was a server. I will no longer be able to be a server again. I came down with a rare condition called CIDP, not COPD, because people don't know about this illness. It's CIPD, meaning chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. My doctors were very confused. They didn't know what was going on with me. They're thinking it was because of the flu shot. I was a perfectly normal person working those 2 jobs. Now I'm not working. I now have a disability for life. And so this condition does have a treatment. I'm going to live with it the rest of my life now. But I'm hoping and praying that out of 100,000 people that could have gotten it, I got it. Mostly men, but I got it. And so now I'm a disabled person. It is very important to me that my colleagues and I get considered for this race because life happens a lot of times. It happened to me. It's been turned upside down completely. My prayer is that I can recover throughout the summer. My nerves have been damaged to an extent that I was paralyzed. I was in the hospital receiving IVIG, which are infusions of immunoglobulin. I'm going to have to receive that for the rest of my life. But I can live a normal life with treatment. And I need to continue working because this is a passion of ours. Like my colleague said, we are different types of teachers. Some of them are classified, some of them are certified, but we all do basically the same thing. Reading is success. Reading is knowledge. Reading is power. If our kids don't know how to read, they can't excel, like I said last time. So please consider this race because, like I said, life does happen. It happened to me. I'm never going to be the same person, but my heart is still in the same place. I want to continue working with these kids, and so I come in front of you guys again to consider this. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Courtney Stone Jackson.
Good evening. I do have something prepared here, but gosh, y'all got everybody. Anybody happy with y'all right now? The NAACP is here mad at y'all? Is that the kind of headlines we're trying to make? Y'all want to go down as that district? Whew, all right, I'm gonna stick to my script because I told myself I was gonna do that. So I just wanted to remind the board and the public that you're required to post the final agenda for the school board meeting, which y'all did last month, but then you didn't follow it. And this practice is so essential because it ensures transparency and it allows the public to be informed about the matters that are going to be presented at the meeting. So last month, y'all published it. There was an agenda item that was for 3 awards followed by public comment. However, the award presented to Wendy Potter was not listed on the agenda, nor did State Rep Carolyn Brown sign up to offer public comment. Despite this, President Delaney took it upon himself to add what he called a, quote, late agenda item. That's what he said in the video. He said, I got a late added agenda item, which constitutes a direct violation of board policies. Now, the core issue is not whether this award was warranted, because I don't think y'all want to take a vote on that. We disagree for sure. But rather that proper procedures were not followed. Had President Delaney either included the award on the agenda in advance, ensured that Representative Brown had signed up for public comment, or had President Delaney simply had Carolyn Brown wait until April's meeting to ensure compliance, y'all would have remained within compliance with your own policies and procedures. However, neither of these actions occurred. This raises several important questions. Why was that award omitted from the agenda? Why was it not disclosed to the public in advance? Why not wait until April to give the award? How did the board know that Brown would be presenting an award had she not signed up for public comment if it wasn't listed on the agenda? How many late items are we just going to add in the moment where you deny the transparency with the public? The perception is that when you do this, the perception you give to the public is that you were aware of this and you just chose not to put it on the agenda. It's highly unlikely that this omission was deliberate, driven by the desire to avoid any kind of public backlash, which now constitutes a breach of a code of ethics. When you collude with another publicly elected official, that is a breach of your code of ethics. You are using your position as a school board president for your own personal and political gain. So my question tonight is, are we going to continue to have late items added to the agenda? I read the agenda tonight. Are more late items going to be added? Or are we going to follow the policies and procedures set by the school board? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tamila Washington. Ms. Washington? Oh, sorry.
I want to first of all thank God for blessing me to be able to come before you all this afternoon. I just want to be real quick, and I type out a letter. What I want to try to implement with the 9th graders, when it's a 7-minute mark, it needs to be a timeout for anything, whether it's volleyball, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, or anything. And the reason why I can say that, because 35 years ago, my coach cussed me out and told me I better keep running, and I collapsed right there on that Fuller Junior High's basketball court and had a brain aneurysm. So 7 is very important to me, so that's why I say I want to have a timeout when there's 7 minutes left. I don't care if they're playing soccer, whatever it is, because it's more to sports than sports, you know what I mean? Because somebody almost died on this basketball court. I almost died January 3rd, 1990, Fuller Junior High. The coach cussed me out and would not let me stop running. So that's why I came up with 7. I collapsed in 7 period. I was in ICU for seven days, and I survived a 17-hour surgery. So I've had a ruptured brain aneurysm and a stroke. I've written a book, I have a website, and I have a heart and a desire to try and save anybody, because I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody. And I know we arguing and fussing over money and everything, but a person's health is something you can never change, because I'll forever limp for the rest of my life because of this. So I know time is forspent, so I have a letter with my email address, with my telephone number on it, and I have a website and everything, and I'm representing the state of Arkansas. as a aneurysm survivor because we have a stroke spokesperson, but not an aneurysm spokesperson. So I want Fuller Junior High to be the first, Mills, I want that to be the first school that implements this 7-minute timeout. And I want to take it to the United States where it's in every school, because I wouldn't wish this on anybody. And if you ever want to read about what happened, the name of my book is Eyes on the 80%, the revised edition. 80% of me is like everybody else. 20% I'll never regain, but I thank God for the 80. So I have a letter, and like I said, I presented it to the governor. So I guess y'all want to take one and pass it around.
Ms. Richards can take it, I think.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Geraldine Taylor.
Good evening, everybody. I want to say that I am so encouraged to see, I just want to address the administrators here. I'm so encouraged. I've not been in the district very long, but there are administrators from Sylvan Hills Junior High. I've been at Landmark Elementary and now at Daisy Base Elementary. And I just want to say I love the solidarity. And thank you. I'm encouraged by your presence. Yes, my name is Jerry Lynn Taylor. And I want to address the board now and say thank you for all you do as school board members and as the interim superintendent. I appreciate even more what you do because my own husband recently became a school board member in another district. I appreciate also the time that you take to be thoughtful in your deliberations for this school district. I was excited to begin this school year as a dyslexia interventionist. I became a dyslexia interventionist in the middle of the previous school year, and I missed that year's professional development with the rest of the team of interventionists. The theme for this year, the theme in our department is, thank you for being a piece of the puzzle. I love puzzles, so that resonated with me. Ms. Pamela Keith, our leader, has used every opportunity to encourage us with creative keepsakes that remind us who we are to this district. I say thank you to her now for how she has been a continual encouragement this school year. I love my job. I began the last school year as a special education paraeducator, and I understood that as a dyslexia interventionist, I would be at a higher salary range than I was as a paraeducator. It is commendable that salary increases were given to SPED paras, and it is expected that dyslexia interventionists will receive the same treatment, a pay increase. I expect this because of the quantitative measure of the duties that I carry out. I appreciate the certified dyslexia interventionists who rallied for our pay increase because additional duties for me include that my student caseload this third quarter increased. That means I had to do assessments. And then on the elementary level, it is challenging to reschedule. You have to constantly change your schedule to accommodate that increased load that continues through the school year. And so that is really what I'm going to conclude with, that the quantitative measure of what we do is the reason that I expect this pay increase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our final speaker tonight is Shauna Hall.
How are y'all tonight? Okay, I am here as a dyslexic interventionist, and I want to piggyback off of my colleagues and the lady that talked about the classified positions. Our position wasn't mentioned, but I do want to commend her for bringing those positions up. We are under learning services, in case no one knows, okay? So
We deserve an adjustment that reflects our contribution to our students. We are providing direct, cumulative instruction. While conducting assessments, we are delivering individualized small group instructions tailored to the needs of the students with dyslexic characteristics. While focusing on proven reading, writing, spelling, and phonological awareness, we are documenting this student's process daily through assessments and observation, all right, through the reading and language skills that we give them. We are creating a supportive, encouraged environment where they feel more engaged and not so embarrassed. This is helping them build their confidence that they bring in the classroom, okay? We provide calculated services for these students and success in the phonological awareness, which involves sounds and rhyme of letters and words, with skills to improve their spelling, reading, decoding, encoding, morphology, the structure of words, and the writing skills to set them up for success in the classroom, while taking on many additional duties and responsibilities. Yet we feel our efforts are not being adequately recognized. And again, like the last speaker spoke, we were a range up from paraprofessionals. I used to be a paraprofessional. They deserve their raise, but so do we. We have a lot of responsibility, okay? And yet now we make less than a paraprofessional. We should not be making less than, if anything, equal to. So, with the skills that we're giving them, we, as interventionists, are sitting at range 8, while paraprofessionals are now at range 9 from range 7. This would conclude that we should be at least at range 10 to be a step up as we were in the past 8 years of the inception of the program, okay? We feel that we are not being recognized. We contribute so much to the district to close these achievement gaps. We are a major contribution to the school's success, yet some of the board and even central office staff, don't even know we exist and don't even know we're under learning services. Yes, we may be classified, but we do just the same as a certified. I feel as if we're just tired of the discard and of the district. Did you really think that it was going to go over well giving some classified people a raise while others that do extra duties don't get a raise? I mean, it's not very acceptable or professional, in my opinion. We do expect a range salary raise
Ms. Hall.
of range 10 by next year of August.
Okay.
For we feel
Ms. Hall.
valued and provided for student success.
Thank you. Okay, that is the last commenter I have on this sheet. Thank you, everyone. This brings us down to our reports and presentations. Our first presentation is certified PPC. Do you want?
Is it okay to move? I'm not sure why those were down farther in the agenda, but
Well,
I can wait if you want.
If you just want to address, give us like we can give us a presentation, and then you can come back for each one.
The first one is, first of all, good evening, everyone.
There you go.
To the board, Dr. Guest. I do want to say, if we do have any assistant principals in here, that we want to say thank you for all you do. I think it's probably more principals. Thank you too, principals. We thank you too. But I know that this week or this month, we celebrate our assistant principals. But I do want to say that we do thank you principals as well. So go back and please relay that to your assistant principals, that we know that this is the month that we celebrate, because we all, it's been stated, we all work together. We all work together, certified and classified in our buildings, to make sure that we're providing the best education for our students. Because, as the district, when you look at the Atlas scores, we're always above the state. As a district, we're above the state level. So that's a good thing. So how does that happen? Dedicated teachers, dedicated support staff, dedicated principals, I know they're certified, principals, and then learning services, everybody, right, everybody. Clean buildings, you know, Mr. Johnson, I'm just saying everyone in the school district, in central office, we all have to work together to make sure we will maintain that status, as next week, our students will start the Atlas testing, state testing. Yes, next week. At least for the middle schools. I don't know, elementary may be a little bit different, but I know middle schools and high schools. So we just want to keep that rolling and, you know, keep that sensation going that, you know, we are the best. And for us to be the best, we have to make sure that we have the best of the best when it comes to our teachers and our support staff in our buildings. So the first thing that I just wanted to talk about on your list, it'll be action item D, license personnel grievance policy. This is a policy that the board sent to the PPC on last Monday. And so we did meet Tuesday, so since we met Tuesday, we went ahead and we approved that policy to bring back to you with one minor adjustment. And I'll just go over that when we get to that part. The second one is, if you don't mind, Ms. Nichols, I'm going to go ahead and move on to that one, where we're going to do that together with the bereavement leave policy. We just wanted to add in parent-in-law because we know that when you're married, that, you know, your relatives become, you know, sometimes you don't even say that's my parent-in-law, you know, that's my mom or that's my dad, you know, be it, you know, your husband or wife. So we wanted to just enter that in as parent-in-law, not cousin-in-laws, not sister-in-laws, but parent-in-laws, okay? So that's the only change that we have. And classified is put theirs in there as well. Then we went to the shared sick leave, which we already have the sick leave, but the only change that we made is to mirror, you know, we talked about, Ms. Nichols and I have said that we're trying to mirror the classified and certified, our policies, to make sure that they, you know, look the same. And in their policy, it spoke to a husband and wife or a spouse being able to utilize accumulated sick leave and joint, and they have to do it in writing. So we thought that would be a good thing to put in our documents as well. And that is it. Those are the ones that we will talk about later on in the
We'll have you back for those as well.
Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Our next report and presentation is the classified PPC presentation. Ms. Nichols.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, board members and Dr. Guest. I want to say first, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. It is a pleasure to represent the classified staff. As everyone knows, we are individuals who work tirelessly every day to support our staff, students, and schools. And we show up every day with pride, purpose, and a deep commitment to this district. But year after year, we see raises and increases going to employees who are already earning a comfortable, livable wage. Meanwhile, the individuals who make our schools run behind the scenes are left behind. Some are struggling to make ends meet on wages as low as $11.44 an hour. When we speak up and ask for pay, we're told there's no money in the budget. We're told to be patient and understanding. Yet, we consistently see raises going to employees who already earn salaries that are well above a livable wage. How is there never enough money for those who need it most, but always enough for those already doing well? Let's call it what it is. It's a systematic imbalance in how our district values our staff. This isn't about taking from one to give to another. It's about recognizing the value of all employees. When we fail to provide livable wages to the lowest paid members of our staff, we send a clear message that their work matters less. when raises are routinely given to those who already make enough to live comfortably, while those earning the least continue to fall behind, we create a system that fosters and cultivates low morale. We lose good people. It's not because they don't love their jobs, but it's because they simply can't afford to stay. We should know better, and now is the time to do better. As we began to plan for the 25-26 school year, I ask that you take a break from this pattern. Prioritize raises for the people who have gone way too long without, the ones who make this district function, often with the least recognition and the smallest paychecks. Lastly, we are asking for clear and honest communication. We need to hear from you. We need to know that our concerns are being heard. And more importantly, what actions this district and board intends to take to address them. So tonight, before I sit down, I want to offer the floor back to you and ask you directly, do you hear us? And what are your intentions for addressing the pay disparities and concerns of classified staff in this district? Do you have any questions for me?
I'm all for it. I've always stood for, that everyone plays a part in running the school district. And the morale, like when the kids get on the bus, it starts, I know some of y'all, your kids, you take them to school. Well, everybody's not that fortunate. But when the children get on the bus, it starts there with the bus driver. And we can't have employees that don't have the morale to, or feel like they're not appreciated. And I say that all the time, that for some reason, I'm like you. I'm really at a loss at what we got right here.
To add that to Ms. Ward, I just want to give my personal testimony for this district. I've been in this district for going on, I don't remember, it seemed like forever. I don't want to say it's about 9 years, and I started off as a media specialist, paraprofessional position, which was phased out. And I worked at College Station as a secretary. Then I left as a secretary, and then I became an attendance clerk. Then I became from an attendance clerk to a register. So I've worked in a lot of support staff positions. I was a single mother of 3. I was on Section 8, food stamps, Medicaid, everything. I could not afford to raise my kids without those benefits. And it wasn't because I stuck with the position because of the pay. I fell in love with the kids. That's what a lot of us do. That's what a lot of our classified staff do. We don't sit here, we don't stay in the district for pay. It's evident. It's because we have a passion for kids. I say that every time I stand up here. It's not because of the pay. We have a passion, but it only can take us so far. Just as Gabby stated, as long as Gabby started as a wheel sub, and I saw her dedication when I worked at Mills Middle. She was a good sub, reliable. I could call her and say, hey, Gabby, we're short. Can you come in? She would come in. And we saw that, and I told Dr. Watson, we need to hire her. And what, you've been in the district now for 5 years? For 6 years. And for the 6 years, she's had to work 2 jobs. And so this is serious. We need to hear from you. I stand up here every month saying what we need. But there's no communication. It's silence. We need to hear from you. I hope you're listening. And I hope that you take it serious. Thank you for your time.
Our next report is financial updates with Ms. Rowlett.
Good evening, Board, Dr. Guest.
before I go into my regular financial update, I also wanted to update you all. We recently had our audit for the last school year, so I just wanted to update you on how that came out. Overall, it was a good audit considering the amount of funds and that we manage and the amount of employees that we have. So it's a good audit. We had 3 supplemental findings. One of them was actually self-reported. A fake check was submitted to the bank, and the bookkeeper at that school actually found that, and so we put a corrective action in place for that. We also had a payroll file that was incorrect, that was inadvertently sent to the bank, and we pulled it back. We were able to reverse it the same day. However, there was about $4,000 paid to employees who no longer worked at the district that we were unable to recoup. So we had to, that's also a finding. The third one was the segregation of duties that we always get, and most school districts get that one. So those were not material findings, as we would say. And then we also had 3 management letters, and that's just that the auditors write a letter and submit it to our officers here just to let us know. It wasn't a material finding. And what a material finding is if you make a misstatement on your records as it relates to the internal control. Material. That was the material finding, that the supplemental findings that I just gave you, the material findings. Wait a minute, Miss. The management findings, okay. So the other one was, I got the same copy. I'll come back to you on that one.
We're gonna, Miss Rowlett, we're gonna have to put the audit on the agenda for next time
Oh,
because we have to
that's right.
approve
We
it.
put it
So don't,
Yes.
don't give away all your
But
tricks yet.
yes, okay. Because I had 2 copies. I had the same copy of the, I didn't have my material findings. They both said, one said supplemental, one said material, but they both had the same findings on there, so, okay.
We get them mailed to us at home too, but we do need to hear from you about it.
Yes,
So
about one, okay.
I think you touched on the major parts of it, right? Like the payroll, the couple of management letters in there.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that was just on the payroll, bank file, and the,
Segregation of duties.
Something's going on with my copies here.
It's okay. We'll get it at next month's meeting.
Going into my regular, report for the legal funds, and I just want to reiterate that you all do get a financial report in your big board package that has all your funds, your federal funds, your food service funds, your building funds, and all that. And I also have that report too as well if you want to have some questions about the other funds. But your legal funds are funds 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being the teacher salary fund.
Not 3.
1, 2, and 4. 1 being the legal teacher salary fund, 2 operating, and 4 is the debt service fund. Our beginning balance for this month was $11 million, our monthly revenues were 2.6. Our expenditures were 11.7 for a gross ending legal balance of 2.3. Categorical funds, as you know, those are our ELL, ESA, PD, and ALE funds. That balance was $868. We have to deduct that and come up with a net legal fund of $1.4 million. Now, we will get a tax check from the county, Pulaski County, probably on the 15th for about $11 million. But we also get taxes from Lone Oak, Faulkner County, and Saline County. So we should have a pretty good tax check by mid-month. So that balance will increase some. As you can see, we have expended 68.
Aren't we also on track to get a second tax check
in May
before the fiscal year ends?
Yeah, we'll get a second tax check probably the second week in May, and it'll be over $40 million just from the county.
Right.
Just from
so $11 million on the 15th of May, and a 40 million plus, at the end of May, the 1st of June.
Yeah,
So,
last year from, Pulaski County, the check in May was 44 million, but as I said, we'll get from the other counties as well. So, we have expended 68.4% of our budget. We have received 61.4% of our revenue. So, it looks good. We're in line to still, end at 11, according to these numbers. Now, I did something a little differently for you. You have a second page, and it just compares, last year to this year. If you look at last year, this time, we had a negative legal fund balance, but this year we do have a positive. You will see that our beginning balance last year for this period 9, the month of March, was 3 million. Our beginning balance this year was 11 million. So, if you go on down and look at that, we had a 2% increase in expenditures. Overall, year-to-date, 0.045. And we have already started adding some of the expenditures back to Fund 2 that we originally charged to Fund 5. So we're doing well. And if we can just maintain our expenditures with our increase in our assessments, we can really stay at 11 million. And I just want to say this, if we end at 11 million, and I have already informed the state of this, but if we don't drop in the continuing years, because I looked at school districts around us that are about our size, and they have about 11 million in the fund balance. If you look at like Bryant, and you compare us to Little Rock, which they're bigger than us, but if you look at that, we're not much different than them. I just want to put that in there. If you look at the revenues decreased a little bit for the month to date for last year, but overall, it's been a 0.07 increase for the revenues. And that's due to our increase in tax assessment, which went from 3.7 billion to 3.9 billion. And I apologize for the little mix-up on the audit, but it was a good audit. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what was the purpose of the second sheet? Did somebody request
Just the
this?
comparison last year to this year.
Okay, so we're moving on up, right?
Yeah.
So we should be able to give some raises.
Well, it depends on what you want your legal ending balance to be. And as I often said, if you drop 1 year, as long as you don't keep on dropping. If we decide, but with our increase in tax assessment, if we really watch some of our expenditures and be mindful of some things, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And you just decide, what do you want that legal ending balance to be? Because as I told you all last time I was here, you know, when I started in 2019, and we thought we had a $6 million deficit, and I found it. Well, if we had not added that back to our legal fund, we would have ended at 16 million. But when we added it back to our legal funds for 19, that put us at 22 million, which is why it looks like we've been dropping and dropping and dropping lower. But if we decide, okay, our goal is to end at 16 million, but let me put a caveat in that. The state wants you to have at least, in your legal fund, it has to be at least 10%. Your legal fund ending balance has to be at least 10% of your revenues, I do believe. That may have changed. It's been a while since I looked at the law.
It's still the basic rule.
That's still a basic rule. Okay, so we have to make sure we do that. And if we end at 11, I think we'll get that 10%.
Okay. I'll save my questions for these cuts that we're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rowlett. Our next report is construction updates with Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson is not here. He is at a meeting. I thought he would have had a representative here, but apparently he does not.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Do you have anything to report?
nothing other than what I know that things are still on track. I go to the weekly construction meetings with the architects and the engineers and all of the employees of the district. Things still seem to be on track and scheduled to end as he had projected. The project over here at Mills ought to be this early fall, late summer. The $15 million second lien bond was approved by the state. It's sitting there ready to be used. He's got architects working on preparing that, preparing the plans for that. I think the same is true at Robinson. We had hoped that we would have some pricing, I believe, this month on what that project or some of those aspects of that project would cost. But the state has to go over all of our submissions, and the state will check with all of the various agencies to make sure that we are meeting state requirements in plumbing, electrical, HVAC. They do a thorough job of vetting our work to make sure we are meeting state expectations in all of those skilled areas. Right now, they have not completed that. That's one reason we are not ready this month to say that we have projections on the Robinson job.
Well, also, I just have on here a superintendent's report if you wanted to say anything else, not about construction.
No, sir, I think that's good.
All right. Okay, that finishes up our reports. That'll take us into approval of last meeting's minutes. I'll take a motion to approve the March 11th minutes.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Smith has made a motion to approve the March 11th minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Maynard has seconded. Discussion? Okay, I'll put those to a vote. All in favor of approving the March 11th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, we have the March 31st minutes. I'll take a motion on those.
Motion.
Ms. Maynard has made a motion to approve March 31st minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Smith has seconded. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll put that to a vote. All in favor of approving the March 31st minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, that brings us down to new business. Our first item on the agenda is the resolution to compensate employees for school closure with Dr. Williams and Dr. Guest.
Good evening, Board. You have a copy of the resolution before you. Just to sum it up, the resolution is asking that the Board consider forgiving the 7 days that we missed due to inclement weather in January and February for licensed and certified, licensed and classified staff who were unable to work due to that inclement weather. This is very similar to the one we did a couple of years ago, and so that's what we're presenting before you tonight.
Okay.
Board members, it's my recommendation that you do approve this. The conditions were such that we could not bring kids to school, and we felt like those same conditions were important to consider with our employees, and we allowed employees to stay home in those days when conditions were dangerous. So we would request that you acknowledge that they could not be here that day and do approved payment for those days.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
All right, Ms. Maynard has made a motion to approve the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Potter has seconded. Discussion? Okay, I will put the resolution to a vote. All in favor of approving the resolution to compensate staff, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, that brings us to our next item, which is the proposed 25-26 certified allocation changes.
Yes, sir. So before you, assuming on your computer, or if you have it printed, you have a booklet more in the fashion of what we used some years before, with various changes on the separate pages, including justifications and job descriptions regarding the proposed changes. And so I guess what I'll do is ask if you have questions, and then I can go through and explain what those changes are.
Yes, it is a little confusing. Is this an old method? Okay, probably be a little bit better to update this in like some kind of spreadsheet where we'll know as far as what's.
We have a spreadsheet.
I do have one I can share with you.
Huh?
I have one that I can share with you.
Okay, okay.
If you hold for just one moment, I'll share the document, and then you can look as I,
Okay. It just look a little complicated, and I know this is like the old-fashioned way of, like, just slipping in changes, because if you don't really know what you're reading, it's easy to, something just fly past you.
So if you give it just a second, you should see a document, that's a spreadsheet.
Okay.
And I can go line by line if that's what you all would like. And I just did the board member group, so I'm hoping it's updated.
Got it.
I received it, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Fowler,
Thank you.
did you receive it?
Yes.
Okay. No, you.
I had the
Yes.
other one.
And I can give you a second to look at it.
And Ms. Ward, the return to this is kind of my doing. I thought that this would be a better way of summarizing what was happening in the various parts of the district, certified parts of the district. The hiring list that you've got next is just on and on and on with names, and certainly it says where they are. But this kind of captures how many people are in various parts, various certified jobs, and where they are, and you can get a sense of the buildings and who's working there and that sort of thing. Even though there are no names, there's numbers. So we thought maybe this would be a little bit more helpful.
Well, I understand that, but you talking about from your perspective, y'all been in HR working around and doing it. So when I ask a question, it's like I'm dumb as a box of rocks.
Oh,
But
no.
I'm talking about as far as to understand and clearly understand what's going on.
Well, I don't mean to imply that.
And I don't want to
anybody
speak
doesn't
for,
understand.
I don't want to speak for Tina, but I think that she and I have been here long enough that this is very reminiscent of riffing and lots of people losing jobs, I think is what she was getting at, if I can speak for you.
Yeah, no, you got it.
Yeah.
So.
Like a slick riff.
So this spreadsheet reflects proposed changes to positions at the district office level and the building level administratively, okay? I just want to kind of explain the documents you have. So now you have this document, that's what this document does. You also have the document that you're looking at that says certified allocation proposal or something like that with the large seal. That is, as Dr. Guest said, just it kind of shows you how many positions are at each place, and then to the right it'll show whether or not there's been a change. Then there's a long list, because as you know, when we switched to LEARNs, it required everyone to be rehired or not rehired, and we referred to that as not extended or extended a contract. So you'll have a longer list that includes all certified. In May, we'll present the same process for classified, which is much like what we did last year. Okay. So that particular document that you're looking at now shows proposed changes at the district level and some changes at the business level certified. So now that you've had a chance to kind of glance at it, questions?
What does that little asterisk beside position mean?
The asterisk is just, it was a reminder of for me to change something. So what it is that position, it used to, the way it was titled, We switched it to go along with the way that Abbott likes their classes, their positions titled. And so that was a reminder for me, because we made a change. This was kind of a document that started off being mine, that was gonna be shared, then we just made it mine again. And so that's, what that is. And so what is changing, that new position that is being requested, and let me just explain.
Okay.
There are 2 Avid coaches, district Avid coaches now. The request is to change one to the second position that you see listed. And that's where the change in the title comes. We had been saying, you know, district Avid coach. Avid prefers the Avid to come first. So we're switching the way it's titled. And
With
so,
the increase, a $20,000 increase.
that increase, again, that's a proposed, that particular position is a administrative position. It requires administrative licensure, and there are also, particular requirements that Avid requires for a person to hold that position.
So is Avid gonna give us some money?
I do not think that's the case. I cannot say that definitely.
Okay.
But I have not heard that to be the case. But again, that's a proposal.
Okay.
For that particular position. So it would be taking the one position, repurposing it for the administrative role, and there would be a difference of, you know, of course, that increases the difference in pay, with that index that's, adjusted to it.
And the second part, it says the Director of Humanities and Learning Services.
Okay, you're going to the next section. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and Director of STEM and Blended Learning. But I see there's a decrease, so that means one of the positions is cut.
Well, what is happening there is both of those positions are being cut.
Oh, both of them being cut.
And then a new position is being created, to in essence combine those duties.
Okay, freeze, and then new.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So
so
the
there's a
rationale-
name that go with, I'm sorry, there's a name that go with these positions, so that means somebody's being cut.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay.
And what's the rationale for, I feel like we've taken a well-oiled wheel and we're chopping it up into a triangle. And I'm with our esteemed and award-winning principals and administrators that came to talk against this, and that it makes no sense whatsoever. And I didn't go to college. I'm not as smart as some of the people in the room with master's degrees and double master's degrees. And I believe that one of these positions is a Harvard fellow. But, so it doesn't make sense to me. So if we could outline it in layman's terms, why we're doing that, and especially this late in the year when we have a new superintendent incoming and we're making such drastic changes that are going to directly negatively impact the school district going forward, I think everybody would like an explanation.
Let me try to answer that, Mr. Keller. The first issue really has to do with the decline in balance. Ms. Rolette mentioned that, but you know from the last couple of board meetings, the projected ending balance was supposed to be 16 million, and it's down to 11, and we're trying to keep it from going any lower than that. That's a $5 million drop. She also mentioned that the state will pay some attention to the fact that your balance is declining and you've got to do some things to recover that balance. You may not recover all of that balance at once, but indicating that you're concerned about it and you're trying to make some changes is important to the state. Ms. Rolette, out of professional courtesy, called the fiscal distress unit of the Department of Education, so they knew that our balance was dropping. We weren't keeping it a secret. But she also told them that we were taking steps to make some changes. Now, you're right, you're going to have a new superintendent. Will the new superintendent want 2 people in that job? That could be. You could have a new superintendent in here in July or August that wants to hire a second person and redefine the two roles. But my thought was, in this case, where you need to demonstrate to the state that you're aware of your fiscal situation, that we cut both of those positions and redefine that job as a director of learning services. That person would report to Dr. Whitfield, and then it will depend upon how that person and Dr. Whitfield work together to accomplish the work of the department. Now, I think
just to, then if you can pause your thought on that one. We're going to take two people that we know that she works exceptionally well and exceptionally effectively with, and we're going to gamble on the fact that she might work well with the new person who's now going to have to do both of those jobs?
I don't know how she'll define what that new person does. The job description that we have as of Director of Learning Services is very similar to hers. It's an overarching responsibility to the Learning Services Department. And I don't know how they're going to define how that goes. But in my assessment, I looked at other things also to see if there were other resources that could be used perhaps better in the Learning Services program. There are 35 academic coaches that are on 195-day contracts. There are 7 academic coaches on 193-day contracts. And there are 4 academic coaches paid for with title money. That's almost 50 academic coaches in the buildings. You got 25 buildings. 4 of those buildings have less than 150 kids. So you probably don't have 2 academic coaches in every building. You've probably got 3 or 4 in some you must have somewhere. So my thought was that the resources that the district has could be redefined to support the efforts of Dr. Whitfield and whomever gets selected to be the Director of Learning Services. You can repurpose some of those academic coaches if you need to, which I think would be right. You may want to make one of those responsible for district math, one of them responsible for district language, and you may want to make someone responsible for elementary roles that could report then to the Director of Learning Services. That's my hypothesis. It ain't my suggestion.
You may
But
want
it's
to ask
possible
Dr.
that
Whitfield.
could be done. Then the resources that are available could help that department support the needs of the program. So I don't think it's leaving the program high and dry. I think there are plenty of resources necessary to achieve that. So I think it's important to make a statement to the department for you, because they'll come in here and take this district over if they don't believe you're managing your finances well.
That's definitely their prerogative to try. But they
They
also
did
tried to
once.
make us do a north and south of the river,
Yeah.
and that didn't work out.
They did once, that's all I'm saying.
Right, so I think that maybe we could also cut costs instead of removing effective personnel, is maybe not pay your wife and your personal attorney. That could also be some effective
Mr.
resource.
Keller, you don't have to, and I would appreciate you not bringing anybody's spouse into this argument.
Well, she's a
You may
contracted
choose
employee
not
of the
to.
district.
You may choose not to. If you do not use her, you'll use somebody else, because that's what Dr. Warren wants. If you don't use her, you'll pay somebody else. So you have that prerogative. And the attorney is the attorney doing business for the district.
I'm sorry, baby.
Okay.
So I appreciate your opinion, but I'm gonna tell you that you're wrong.
Well, that's okay, and that's your opinion, so.
It's 50 states in the United States, and Arkansas is ranking 38. And you mean to tell me we want to cut somebody and some, some positions that's going to help in our education, but it all boils down to who you ask. Now you say you ask Dr. Warren. Have you asked Dr. Whitfield what she needs?
Well, Dr. Warren is the person is overseeing finances.
Now.
She's overseeing the financial,
Now.
the financial department. That's
Now.
right. Yeah.
Okay,
Recently.
we're trying to understand the allocations, then we can get into the argumentation of them, but does anyone not have a clear understanding of what's happening in learning services with the cutting of 2 positions, the creation of another at a lower index, and the freezing?
I think we all have a clear understanding of what's happening.
Well, can we just get through the others, because she's got a sheet here, and then we can make these sort of arguments? I won't cut you short.
Okay, so assessment specialists, we currently have two. The request is on the, and this is a classified, it's a cross between certified and classified. The assessment department, the counseling department currently has an allocation for a secretary. The secretary, unfortunately, is unable to assist in anything with assessment. Assessment has to be handled by certified personnel. And so the request or the proposal is to freeze the secretary position and hire someone as an assessment specialist who can actually assist with testing and also work in tandem with answering phone calls. The issue with a secretary in the counseling department, because they aren't able to deal with the assessment information, all they're doing is answering the call and forwarding it to someone else. They can't answer questions regarding the testing other than perhaps when the dates are. But they're not able to actually fully function within that department to a point where they are beneficial in terms of working with assessment. We are continually getting additional assessment requirements, and so the request is to repurpose that position as an assessment specialist so that they can fully assist in that process.
And that nets out, sorry.
Okay, and that, and the amounts on, because we don't know who would be hired, so we just kind of look at where someone would be with, say, a master's, or I think I put master's for this because it's a requirement, I believe, for that position. And then someone that is like around range 13, just as an estimate. We may get someone in who only has 6 years of experience, and so of course that'll be less. If the person has a doctorate, of course it'll be more. So we can't, give a definitive amount because we don't know what person would be hired.
It's a good faith estimate
Yes.
on what you think the difference
And all
would
of
be.
those are in that vein. We use that as the point to make a determination.
Right.
The next item listed is the library media and technology facilitator. This is one of 3 positions that will be discussed over the 2 months that are certified positions that, for whatever reason, during that time period, they were placed as classified. And so we are trying to move them to the certified side. And so this particular one, library media and technology facilitator, it shows their current salary and everything there. Because of their level of supervision over persons, which is what we do with all administrators, there is an index, it's a 1.1 listed. And so that would be, as you see the change on the document, less than like $2,000 of an increase.
But it's contingent on the classified
On that
allocations
being,
coming,
yes.
which will come in May.
Yes.
So there's sort of like an interplay there.
Interplay, yes.
Right.
And so with that position, again, the assessment position, and then 2 other positions that I'm coming to. The next one listed is the Director of Career Academies. That particular position, we're not looking at an index change. We are looking at an increase in days. That particular position has in the past, and will continue to, because of the nature of the position, work year-round. They are meeting with the chamber. They are meeting with various companies who are bringing in academies into our district, and we've been paying daily rate of pay. In this way, this will lock in and help us with not, one, allowing us to budget effectively, because when you just do the daily rate of pay, it's not locked into the budget. But then 2, to help us keep a set amount that's being spent. The same you'll see with the ESOL coordinator. Again, same thing, fewer days, though. They don't work as much during the summer. And so it's more on that front end. They have some things there. And so we're requesting an additional 10 days for that position. Same rationale, just not as much throughout the summer. The next item is a stipend for concurrent credit coordinators. We are moving more and more into doing that at the high school level. And so we are requesting that we provide a stipend for persons to help facilitate that. They are having to work not only with the students, but the different universities that we use, as well as the professors there, and maintaining that paperwork and making sure our students are getting not only the instruction they need, but that their credits are being properly applied and converted to credits for graduation. The next item is listing the two, and that's why they're in italics, the two classified positions that will come up in May, but they are being proposed to be frozen and creating a singular position. The nature of the duties of those two positions have changed since their inception, and we did an audit of that position, those two positions, and looked at how we could combine those, and so that's that particular position.
I just want to emphasize that is not, we're not requesting action on that tonight. Yeah,
Right,
you did.
yes.
You did. I'm not
we
doubting
already
that,
said
but
that.
I just want to be sure everybody understands that. These are classified positions and would not come up until next month.
The next item lists our building level administrators. What we are proposing, I think it was about 2, maybe 3 years ago, there was a proposal to combine middle and high school assistant principals, and that was done under the listing of secondary assistant principals. The proposal is to go back to the way they were listed those 2 or 3 years ago, moving them to high school assistant principal, middle school assistant principal. The difference being the number of activities, specifically after-school activities and sports at the middle school level. They're not as widespread or as many at the high school level. And so that's a proposal there. You have job descriptions for those. And the next, actually, can I skip this next little block and go down to the other ones and come back? Because that's going to probably take a little more time. The ones, we'll skip special assignment changes and go down to the school psychology specialist and the early childhood psychology specialist and the educational examiner. Those are positions that have been requested. They're actually combining them, and so those are being, for all intents and purposes, frozen or cut, deleted, and they will fall within the first line of school psychology specialists and educational examiners. And so there's no true cost in that other than the step increase for the year. The next one is a request to decrease those as well, to make adjustments to use at the classified level for positions that will be requested at the May meeting. And so the request is to RIF the 0.4 and the 0.6, and also on the homebound, decrease that one by 1. It actually has an allocation of 4. We have currently, for the last couple of years, filled it with 2. The request is to decrease it by 1. We do have another position, so it will be 3 proposed for next year, but still staying within that allocation. And we will be using someone who is we will not be refilling a position and using that person, so it won't be an additional cost that's other from outside of this year. And the last items at the bottom are title changes. We have done this already, but we want to make sure it's official. Equity and Pupil Services changed to Student Services. And so those positions within that department will change accordingly. And the district Avid coach, again, Avid district coach.
Okay.
Now, going back up, special assignments. We had some administrators who were not on the pay scale for the position which they were currently holding. And so that happened over a course of years where they were transferred from their current position to other positions and ultimately ended up in a lesser position, going from secondary assistant principal and now currently sitting as an elementary assistant principal. And what we're doing is appropriately placing them on the job pay scale of the position that they are currently in. So we had people who were being paid as secondary APs who are currently now at an elementary position, and we're making sure that their pay aligns with their job. So we're making those adjustments this year.
Is this because there was a transfer in the past or something like
Yes.
that? That accommodations were made essentially because when
Yes, and they did not get dropped, so we're making sure that that's adjusted this year.
Okay.
When will that begin?
It was to begin July 1st.
So the 463,000 that it says are being saved, is that just for the certified or some
Yeah,
of
that's
that
just on
included?
this sheet.
Okay.
And that's not including benefits. That's just on this sheet. If you look at the document that you have, that I shared with you, there's a second tab that has a running total. And that is the projected savings that we've done through certified. And some classified is listed there
Ms.
as well.
Maynard, she pointed out that that doesn't include benefits. That may not sound like a lot, but that's benefits 30%. By the time you factor in all this district pays, in retirement and Social Security match and insurance match and other fringe benefits that are provided, most districts use somewhere around 25% as a target for how much fringe benefit costs. Ms. Rolette is convinced that we're at 30%. So we have a good, I think she'll nod her head. Will you, Miss, do you agree?
Yes, I
Yes.
think 29% basically.
Ms. Maynard, so that's a pretty big deal. That's you know, that $400,000 becomes 5.2. And then this last sheet, if I can, do you want to go down this? You go ahead. You're the one that.
I can. Well, what it lists, and we don't, of course, we haven't gone through what we're requesting for classified, so if it's okay, I'd just like to mention the certified, since we haven't done.
Let's just talk about what's in front of us.
Yeah.
Sir.
Let's just talk about what's in
Yes.
front of us.
And so, what we're looking at, as I said, on that particular sheet that you were just looking at, was the $463,746.25, not including benefits. Because the Success Learning Academy was placed back into the building, so that's the decision that's been made with that. We did have some persons who, of course, we still need those professionals, someone to cover that in the building. So 4 of those teachers and 4 of those paraprofessionals from that building moved to a middle school or a location for middle school ALE.
If you're looking at that last sheet, the certified is 550, the classified is 153, that's 700. And then the transportation was 3.
And that's an approximation.
Yeah, so that's $1 million. but we were spending about 1.6 or 7 in total, and the difference would be those 4 people that are going to be assigned to the middle schools or junior high in the Sylvan Hills case, where there's more room, and then each one of those will carry a parapro. So that's the difference in the total cost of the program and what's shown here.
How many teachers and how many paras did we have over there?
Well, we had, 8, I believe it's 8. Now, let me pull my other sheet up. Oh, I don't have that one. We did have some others that we had to, there were some, who were placed at in other positions. And paras, we've gotten almost everybody placed, but we think we'll be able to cover the last few that we don't have, placed. And then there were some others who won't be returning.
And the paras will be under our classified totals.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't think, Ms. Maynard, that anyone that was in Success Learning has lost a job.
Well,
Is any?
well, there were persons who, for various reasons, weren't. There were 3.
Okay.
But that was
And so this is
not
how we're,
because of the closing of the.
this is how we're doing away with our ALE program that was doing so well?
They are moving back into the building.
Okay. So that was just like a slick way to not tell us about it until everybody came and talked about it? You don't have to answer that.
Dr. Williams, we've pivoted to talking about the ALE, which is fine, but do any of the changes on the ALE, do they actually appear on the allocation, in the allocations packet, or is it like teachers and stuff? Because the allocations packet is mostly above entry level with some exception.
Yes, no, they will be reflected or not in the higher list.
In the higher list, but I guess what I'm saying is so people understand, because we're getting into the ALE thing, but we've just been talking about allocations. The changes to the ALE, like those teachers aren't on the allocation sheet. It's like an administrative decision to shut down the ALE and reassign the teachers, and that's going to result in savings. So let's say, for example, you wanted to vote against allocations only for the reason that you wanted to keep the ALE open. The ALE being open or closed doesn't have anything to really do with the voting on allocations,
No,
right?
sir. No, sir.
It's just other savings that we're now talking about.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the Success Learning Academy is not listed on the sheet, on the first tab.
Yeah.
Where is it listed?
It is not listed per se, but those persons would be listed in the higher document.
In the consent agenda?
No, that's next.
Oh.
There's really nothing in the consent agenda that isn't otherwise always in the consent agenda. The hiring list is next. That's going to be a separate
Oh, I see.
vote.
It's
the
the
way
next-
it's put
it's
on the
my
agenda
next
makes
item.
it look different.
Yeah, it's got like a highlight on it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to be clear, there's no shenanigans with the consent agenda here. It's business as usual in the consent agenda.
All of my pieces are in new business.
Lucky you.
I am the agenda.
Were we not made aware of the ALE changes, what you were proposing ahead of time? Because I feel
Yes,
like I
yeah.
remember seeing an email about it.
Yeah, I've been talking about it ever since I realized how few kids were there and how much it cost. Yeah.
What is
We had a total of how many kids?
Well, at the time we were looking at it, there were 35 middle school kids there.
And it was 1.6 million,
Yeah,
so 44,000.
yeah, probably.
44,000 per student. Go ahead.
So, money, is that the reason why the middle schools are being moved back to like regular classes?
Sounds like it.
She said it's money.
I'm asking like the reasons behind the middle schoolers being moved from the ALE program. Like, what are the reasons behind it?
I don't know.
That it's
She's
being
saying,
moved.
what is the reason that the middle school the ALE is going to the middle school building? She said, is it money?
Well, there will be an ALE come back to the middle school building. There will be. The principal there will have an ALE classroom in that building next year. This year, the kids got picked up and carried to Maumelle from this feeder pattern, and we're in school there. Next year, they'll stay in this feeder pattern, come to the Mills Middle School, and have an ALE room, just like there's an ALE room at the high school. And there's an ALE room in the other 3 high schools. So it's gonna be the same model. Yes.
But the answer is yes, they're not all gonna be together because of money.
Yes,
No,
yes.
what?
Because,
We would do, this recommendation is to save money, right?
To save money, yeah,
does
that's.
that make you feel good?
No, it does not.
Me neither.
That was her question.
Well, if we could spend $44,000 on every kid, I guess we could leave it open.
I'm okay with it. Apparently, you put a cap on how much we should spend on kids to make them successful.
I think if you, Mr. Keller, I'm right in there with you. If we had enough money to spend whatever it took on every individual child, I'm right in there with you.
But we
But it
don't,
ain't-
and
but
that's
it
the
ain't
whole
that
point of
way,
equity is
and
we
it ain't ever
we
been
do
that
what each kid needs individually. We don't have to make it across the board spend. That's kind of ridiculous to suggest that we should spend 44,000 on every kid, because that's not what every kid needs. Some of the ALE kids need that 44,000. That's my point. That's her point.
Well,
I'm new, so what's the difference between having the ALE program at the middle school where are they not gonna get the same services at the middle schools that they would have gotten at?
The program that they had, that was at Maumelle High School was a very good program, recognized every year for being exceptional by the state. But the reason it was exceptional was because you had so much money being spent there and so many services. And that's great if you can afford it. But there were wraparound services, all sorts of things that were available to kids, those few kids that were there. But you can't, in my opinion, you can't afford to continue to pay that kind of money for so few kids if you can replace that form of service with another. We got 4 classrooms in the 4 high schools now. So the 4 classrooms and the 3 classrooms in the middle schools and the 1 at junior high in Sylvan Hills seem to be a reasonable way to serve those kids. And it's not just a teacher, it's also a parapro. And if you're in that building and you need somebody to come in and teach calculus over here at the high school, then you've got a math teacher that can do that. But when you set up a program that's site-based, if you need a calculus teacher, there may not be anybody you've got that can teach calculus. So there's some advantages to put it back in the building. There are also some people there's some disadvantages to that. But it's a reasonable position to take between service and the expense of the program.
But we've been doing, in the high schools, we've been doing ALE in the schools, not all in one.
No, they've been doing they've got ALE classrooms in the high schools. I think the original intent, I thought it was to have all secondary kids there. I'm not sure. But the only kids that were there this year were middle school kids. The high school principals all have ALE classrooms.
Okay, so we have the allocations in front of us. This isn't even on the agenda for a vote, right? Like, this is just something that would happen on administrative directive, right? The ALE,
Yeah.
Just like its creation did not come with a board vote, okay? But it's relevant to the conversation indirectly because we're talking about cuts to save money.
Yes.
And so you identify how much, if we move the ALE out of Maumelle and do what Dr. Guest was talking about, just for my information, what is the total savings that we're estimating?
Let me get
Well, $700,000 in salaries, which would have another $200,000 on top of that in fringe benefits. That'd be 9. And then the transportation's $300,000. That'd be 1.2.
Okay, so roughly, we're estimating that changing the ALE model we have from what we do now to what Dr. Guest has said would save 1.2. And then the classified or the certified allocation changes that we're seeing tonight would save.
What you're saying is the 400, well, let me just deal with this sheet right here.
Okay.
Which is the first tab. That is $463,746.25. That's what these changes on this sheet represent. The first tab of the spreadsheet I shared.
Okay, I wanna talk about I want to hear from Dr. Whitfield because she works so close, with that department. And I mean, ever since she's been here, we've seen nothing but like blue ribbon, I mean, all kind of things happening in the district. And so, Dr. Whitfield, would you mind just kind of coming and giving us your direct, because it sounds like somebody's making some decisions for what you govern by, I don't know where the favoritism is. I don't know where it's going. I don't understand it when it comes to children being the common denominator. And I know for sure that these principals, out of a long day's work, they ain't just sitting up in here just to be sitting up in here. Dr. Whitfield, please tell us your thoughts on the cuts of the learning services positions.
Y'all know that I'm known for being honest and forthright.
That's why I call you.
They expect nothing less from me. I'm concerned. That's not an opinion. I've been doing this 33 years. 20-something as an administrator, a highly effective administrator. I'm concerned. So we don't have curriculum in about 15 areas. High school English teachers hadn't had curriculum in 15 years. So when you don't have curriculum, then you don't have curriculum people. I'm very concerned. That's a lot. That's a lot for a team of 3, a team of 6, a team of 8. That's a lot. I feel myself getting emotional because I'm concerned about the teachers, the principals, because this work is heavy. This is heavy work. And when you take away the foundation, then the house crumbles. We're about to crumble. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody, because I'm known for telling my staff, you don't panic, that's my job. And when I say it's time to panic, we panic. So I've been trying not to sound the panic alarm. And I've been trying to keep these people, like, my words are always, we have teachers and kids depending on us, so we have to rise to the occasion. But I don't have a plan, because I don't know how to fill in that gap. So that scares me, because I'm used to being effective at my job. So that scares me. So this board last year gave extra money to a few people when a job was dissolved. So that was a round of extra duties that a few people were compensated for. But what you don't know is there have been 6 other rounds of job additions that came with no compensation, because I believe when there's work to do, you just jump in and do it. And they trusted me enough to say, if you say we can do it, we can do it. So we lost an RTI PBIS position. And I said, we're not going to hire for that position because we're skilled enough to take on that role and do it ourselves. And we spend enough time in the schools that we can do that and we can be a support. So that was a round of additions to those jobs. Then came Learns. Well, that's unveiling even now, because this week I was having to try to figure out the right to read without rules, but making sure I kind of second guess what we'll have to do to be ready in the fall. So that's some more responsibilities on top of keeping the boat floating. So that was Learns. Then came the Director of Accountability and picking up those duties. Summer school will be new for us because we've never done that before, but we're going to make it happen. But that came with about 15 additional duties. Then after that came, something else came next. Access. So access. Well, part of the accountability job that was dissolved gave us course catalog and a piece of registration and all of that, making sure. So feeling pretty good because that was done. Well, access hit and that has to be redone because the rules are changing. So keeping the boat going and new things being dropped on us that we thought we had done, but the rules changed. But we're used to rules changing. That's part of education. So it's just been kind of a constant of additions and new responsibilities, but trying to keep things afloat. So I'm concerned because I know what's ahead. I know what I'm dealing with now. So I know, and I know what's coming. So the best analogy I can give so everybody in this room would understand, if I'm a delivery driver and I'm supposed to take a load to Oklahoma, so, but I have to pick up things along the way. My truck is already full, but I still have to pick up some things along the route. So when I get to Alma, just say that's probably halfway or almost, and the company calls and says, I need your tires, but you still got to get the load to Oklahoma. And I say, well, how am I going to do that? Okay, we're going to give you 2 tires, but you still have to pick up the things along the way and make it to Oklahoma. Well, how am I going to do that? That's how I feel right now. So I don't even know if I answered your question.
You got it.
I don't even know.
I got it. I feel you.
But I'm concerned about supporting the administrators. That was another round. So we became nationally certified principal supervisors. So we went to training for that 2.5 years ago so that we could meet the requirements of leads but do it right and provide wraparound services for our schools. So that was kind of another addition, and that's why we spend so much time in schools, because we're boots on the ground. Kids know us, teachers know us, and administrators expect us to show up. Oh, another thing, parent complaints. We do parent complaints. So I bet y'all get parent complaints as board members, but I bet you don't get near the amount that we receive. Each one usually deals with about 5 touches. So when a parent is upset, you just let them talk because they want to be heard and they have to get it off their chest. I have been on the phone literally 3 hours with one parent at 9:30 at night when I was out of town, not working. Because my goal is to fix it before it gets to you or to you, to fix it. So 5 touches, that's me talking to the parent, calling the parent back, them calling the principal back, and there are times when we just say, you know what, we're just going to show up at the school for a meeting. So, Ms. Ward, that's all I have. But that's from the heart, because my heart is hurting because I'm concerned.
I have a question for clarification. So I'm not sure I wrote it down right. You said we do not have curriculum in 15 areas? Is that what?
We have 15 years and 9 areas. 15 years in high school English.
That we do not have curriculum currently.
Right. So they stand in the gap. When you don't have curriculum, they need curriculum people to try to write things and support teachers and provide training. So we provide training to principals, to coaches, so that coaches can help fill in the gap.
Does your curriculum come from the state Department of Ed?
Well, they give us standards, which changed recently, so we had to pivot and change again. But we have to purchase curriculum.
Have we not been buying any, or what we've been buying I don't know, it just
Say that,
changes.
say that a little.
Have we bought more? Have we bought curriculum?
We still have those areas that still do not have curriculum.
How do we,
I don't have an answer.
where do we?
I mean, there are companies.
Like, I remember as a child, we had Huffman something books.
What?
Huffman? I'm like,
We
what, a book?
just hadn't purchased curriculum, I should say that in, I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
So we stand in the gap where there is no curriculum, you have curriculum people that you depend on to have guide teachers.
Huh.
That's your question?
No, but I'm still just dumbfounded, like, what?
Me too.
How do you get this many years and no, it's never been fixed? They're tested areas?
English.
I guess my question is why?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, so, let me go back to this. When I was a kid at Sylvan Hills Elementary, we had that Hoffman? Oh, y'all all know what I'm
Which is no
talking about.
longer a company.
Right. I mean, it's not a thing anymore. But I mean, we had those books. I remember carrying those heavy books for, our English book. And then we had a book, a worksheet book or a workbook that went with the book. But now we've got computers, so we don't have software for the students to study from, learn from, that's already created for the school year, for the teachers. I know I have a client who's an educator at one of our high schools, and she said, she's looking at having to change what she teaches in the science department, and she's not curriculumed for the other, and also trained where she has to pay for that certification, I guess. And so, because her office person is going to ask her to change classes, so she's going to have to pay to get a new certification to teach, but she already has the whole setup for what she's spent years working on, right? Which I guess was what you're saying, a curriculum. She has a curriculum already created, she's got it articulated so that she really works with her kids and gets in there with them, but then she's being asked to switch from that to another curriculum that she's to get a new license for, to then go back into the class and recreate a new. So sometimes the teachers, I guess, have created their own curriculum, which is what you're saying, we don't have anything
And that's not the
specific.
best thing to do, because it
Right.
doesn't mean that you're going to meet the standards that the state has said that we need to meet.
Right.
So that's why you have curriculum people to kind of help with that, so that Sonia just isn't in there just pulling this, that, and the other, and it's not meeting the standard.
Right, okay. These are things I've never even heard us even discuss, and I don't think that I've ever heard this discussed, and if I had, I obviously missed the whole conversation.
Well, they probably get tired of hearing me.
Well, I think, previously it just wasn't discussed, so.
Okay.
It was. She just said my perspective was 3 years ago, before I got in this position, that was the last curriculum purchase.
But that was in the grade.
That was in middle. Yeah, it was middle school math. But they get,
This is a conversation we could go on all night about.
just about every week needing curriculum.
Yeah.
So, but the argument here is that you need these positions because you don't have curriculum. Is that
I need-
fundamentally?
That's part of it, but everything else I said, everything that they are responsible for to keep the boat going down the river.
So you need these positions and the people that are currently in these positions.
I need the positions, and I would love to have the people, because they each, that's one thing about when you don't have a math person, like one person focused on math, one person focused on English, one person focused on science, one person focused on foreign language. When you just have two people and that focus is split like that, then they receive specialized training. So they receive all the state rules, all the regs, all the standards training on their content areas. So an area that Dr. Luttrell has training in, I don't have that training because I don't go to his specialized training. An area that Dr. Bledman, with all of her responsibility areas, I don't go to those trainings because that's her. I can't be in everything at once. So they receive everything that keeps us in compliance. They make sure we're addressing all the standards. They make sure of that because they attend specialized training for that. So we're not getting calls from the state saying, you didn't do this, and this, because we're keeping that going. But there's only so many balls you could keep in the air before you start dropping them. So.
Do you agree that all those academic coaches that you have could be repurposed to some of these solutions?
I do not agree with that. Academic coaches have to spend 85% of their time in classrooms.
You don't have
They're
to leave them in
certified.
that role. You can take them out and make one of them a head math coach for the district and one of them a head language arts coach. And you can do that for high schools and middle schools. You've got nearly 50 academic coaches. You talk about what you could do or couldn't do. I think it's a matter of deciding what you gotta do. That's my idea. Wait. You sit here and you suggest that there is no other way to solve this problem? Sure there is. We're taking an alternative program and we're changing it to the same thing the high schools do. We're gonna put high school ALE classes in the high schools and we're gonna put classes in the middle schools. And the reason is that you can't afford to do what you're doing now. The idea of using academic coaches in a different role has to be a reality. I'm not saying make them an academic coach part of the time and a district math and language coordinator the other part of the time. But you've got nearly 50. We've got 25 schools and 4 of them have less than 175 kids. So I would say that repurposing those resources and others can be done. Now, if we want to continue this discussion here, I'll be glad to continue it. But I think it's critical that you recognize the fact that the district's balance has dropped by $5 million.
Yeah.
And something has to be done for that.
Sounds like to me, with her being as close as she is to your office, it sounds like you haven't even listened to her. Like y'all ain't never had this discussion. Sounds like you want to address her in front of everybody because she's pulling the cover off everything.
No,
but you should have had this discussion with her already.
I've had that discussion.
When?
She's suggesting that there's nothing else that can be done. Sure there is. There's never any problem that you can't solve in another way.
Here's the problem that I have. Don't even cut me, because this is the problem I have. When it comes to credit, Dr. Whitfield has some good credit. But when it comes to your credit, your credit report ain't looking real good as far as the reason why we're in the mess that we're in, as far as the decisions that you made when you was running the boat.
Okay.
So, and I haven't heard you, Delaney, you can hush right now, because of the fact that sounds like, and y'all gonna stop disrespecting these women when they get up here. And I know that the person that was recommended to come in this district to suggest or recommend cuts, I heard about her racist comments, and she was recommended by you. So that's why when it comes to your credit, it ain't real good. And what I'm not gonna do is sit here and let this woman be disrespected, and you talk to her like you done had a discussion. You ain't had no discussion with her.
I don't mean any disrespect.
Yeah, you did.
No, I
Yeah, you
don't.
raised your voice and
Okay.
everything,
But she
and her
wants to
husband
sit-
standing back
she
there. I
wants-
told him to stand down. I got it.
She wants to say there is no other way to do this job, and there is. And there are other ways to do it.
We have on the agenda the certified allocations. What does the board need to know? We're going in circles here. We're arguing with each other. What information do you need to get to a decision to up or down these certified allocations? That's the direction we need to be going. It's very clear that a lot of us already know how we're going to vote. So what else do we need to get to a decision? Because this is going to get to a decision up or down. What is there? Okay.
Let me say one other thing. Dr. Williams and the HR department, Dr. Freeman, and others have labored intensely. I don't know how they keep their head straight, because the department is struggling with a lot of novice teachers that have not done what they should do, and a lot going on that she's having to balance. At the same time that they worked on these changes because they knew how critical they were. So I just want to say, I appreciate what that department has done in being responsible and forthcoming with some things that could be done differently to help the district recover itself. So I want it to be known that I appreciate it.
Dr. Guess, after all this discussion so far, these certified allocations, while others have worked on them, they can only be your recommendation. So are they still your recommendation?
They certainly are.
Okay.
May I interrupt? And our student board member needs to
Okay.
get back to bed, so.
Okay, go ahead.
She'd like to say something.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor to be here. Thank you, Dr. Farr, for choosing me to be here. Thank you, Ms. Dickinson, for helping me through the stress and all the nervousness. The ALE thing, I feel that needs to be rethinked a little bit. That's just my opinion. I can't vote, but I do have a voice, so in my opinion, I feel like that needs to be rethinked. But, thank you for having me. I have
Thank
to go
you.
now.
Dr. Williams,
Ma'am.
did you get wrote up? Oh, okay then.
Okay, so what other questions do we have? Let's take a 5-minute recess so that they can get pictures taken, and then we'll come back and move this to a decision.
I'm telling you that, well, I saw one where it said what countries are in, North America.
Okay, let's get going.
War fought, who fought it? Yeah.
Let's get going. Are we back or no? Let's get going. All right.
I'm not a testing person, I'm more about like teaching, they get the testing.
Okay.
Let me grab them.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
All right. Okay, so after all that, we still have our certified allocations here. They are still the recommendation of the superintendent. I'm going to try to move this along. I move approval of the certified allocations as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to take Ms. Smith as the second. So let's get out anything else we want to say about this, and if it fails, we'll figure out what else to do. But if it passes, we'll move on to the next thing. So questions, last statements?
I move that we take it off the agenda.
Well, I've already got a motion and a second to approve it.
Oh, okay, that's why you did that, okay.
Okay. Other questions for Dr. Williams or Dr. Guest? They're his recommendations. The HR department supported him in those, but ultimately, Dr. Guest is our superintendent.
I'm sorry, did you say they supported him in those, or they did as they were directed to do?
I actually don't know, but either way, he acknowledged them and their help. And so,
So for the record, you acknowledge that Dr. Williams did a really good job? No, we're not gonna acknowledge that?
let's not evaluate personnel.
Well, I thought he was acknowledging their hard work and accomplishments.
But he
So
did
I
too,
just-
but I can't remember, it was 5 minutes ago. All right.
Sort of reflecting the minutes.
You remember 20 years ago.
So we got a motion and a second on this. Does anyone else want to make a record of their positions on this before we take a vote?
Yes, I would, for the record, voting to remove those two positions is willful ignorance.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. The motion is to approve the certified allocations as presented tonight by Dr. Williams and recommended by Dr. Guess. All in favor of approving the certified allocations, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, I have that 5-2 with the no votes being Mr. Keller and Ms. Ward. Okay. Next, we have the certified hiring list. Dr. Williams.
The next document that you have before you, it is a lengthy document, but it is by school, and then by, teacher by school, certified staff, including, counselors, teacher librarians, instructional coaches, all licensed personnel within the building, are first by school. And then there's a second section that deals with building level, leaders, again, by school, and including some secondary, coaching, positions that, we have some coaches who coach multiple sports, and they work at, an elementary school. And so those are kind of listed separately. And so these are the proposed recommendations for rehire for 25-26. We do have we always know that there may be some changes based on we still have 2 months of school left. So there may be some changes, but at this point, these are the recommendations.
Okay. And they were based on the assumption that the certified allocations would be approved. So
Yes.
you've adjusted
Yes.
around that.
And they're
as noted in that second tab, there have been, just based on enrollment in various things, there have been some decreases in various buildings.
Okay, and it's a long list, and
It is.
Something, last time we had one that was missed, but we'll take care of anything if we catch anything. And we
Yes.
have special board meetings, I just want you to telling you,
Right.
we have special board meetings coming up, so we may not even need to wait till May. If you
Yeah.
find like one or two people,
Yeah.
we can try to slide that in between our interviews. Okay. All right, so this is our second year of doing the hiring list. It's more or less the same as last year in terms of its formatting and how you've approached it, right?
Slightly different.
Okay.
I just did one full list, instead of separate pages, so
Okay.
it has, but it's, everyone who is certified.
But
who's being, requested to have their contract extended.
The
for
practical
35.
effect of this is if this is approved, you'll have the authorization to send these contracts out.
Yes, sir.
But they won't go out tomorrow. You'll
They
still.
will not go
yeah.
out tomorrow.
I
There
just
is
wanna
a
be clear.
process.
There's a process, and it may take some time, so.
Yes, but we are trying to do that as quickly as possible.
Okay, all righty.
I make a motion that we approve the certified list.
Okay, Ms. Maynard has made a motion to approve the certified hiring list as presented. Is there a second? I'll second. Okay, so motion and a second on the hiring list. Any questions? Okay, I'll put the certified hiring list to a vote. All in favor of approving the certified hiring list as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Who was, okay, so Keller and Ward, okay. All right, 5-2, Keller and Ward is the no votes. Okay. Our next, agenda go. Our next item is the grievances policy with Dr. Williams and Ms. Robinson.
Okay, this is coming from the PPC, back to the board. This was the discipline and grievances policy was sent to the PPC by the board on last Monday. And the PPC did meet on Tuesday, and we did accept to approve the grievance policy. Actually, I thought we had already done this because I had a document, so I thought we had already went through this process, but we didn't. So you will see all the strikeouts again is the language that's being removed, and then the language in bold is the same language you guys sent us, but of course, that's the process. We make it bolded to know that this is new language. And the other thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is, I don't know what page that's on, 67, maybe 68, where it says discrimination and complaints. In that second sentence, I know the board has had that discussion again, but I looked through some of the model policies that also will be bringing to the board, like the code of conduct, and anytime it had sexual harassment, they took out and put sex-based. So that's like coming from the model policy. And I know the board asked, like, what does that mean? I was really trying to look through some other documents, but that's just the wording that they put out in the model policies. And this is one of the model policies that was sent to us. But the discrimination complaints, we kept this part, the board kept this part. It was originally in our,
I kind of left,
language.
so when I sent it to you, I left it in there because it was sort of, the time limits went with the rest of it, and so I just sort of left it there just for context, but I see what you did. Okay.
So we don't know the difference with, I guess I'm trying to figure out why.
Why sexual harassment and
Yeah.
change it to sex-based, I think just because it's, the language is, probably less aggressive.
And harassment can be described different directions.
But it still says harassment, it changes from sexual to sex-based.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Like being talked to, if you're a woman, different, like being talked down to or something.
I don't know the true definition. I don't know the true definition, and I was trying to look at all the documents, but just some other things that we're gonna present from the model policy, that's what it has. So we're just using that terminology. My assumption, it could be something dealing
And it's
with
the same-
equity
and
and
it's
all
the
that
same
kind
with
of
student,
stuff.
in the student policy.
Oh,
They
okay.
changed
It's gonna be
everything
changed.
to
Mhm.
sex-based.
Mhm.
Okay.
And stop acting like I'm asking a dumb question. You the one got the dumb question.
Any other questions for Ms. Robinson or Dr. Williams? Okay, so we need a motion here to adopt the policy since it's right to be adopted.
I make a motion, we adopt the policy.
Okay, Ms. Maynard has made a motion to adopt the policy. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Potter has seconded. Other discussion or questions? Okay, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of adopting the discipline and grievance policy for certified, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. And this will go into, Dr. Williams and Ms. Robinson, this is intended to go into effect for the next, starting on July 1st, right?
It can, or it can go in now.
Well, I had it in there as to start at the beginning, just,
That's fine.
if it's not an emergency, I would think we would just
It's fine.
do it for next time and for the start of the
fine.
year. Okay, our next item on the agenda is our PPC certified and classified bereavement leave policy.
And the only change, again, we talked about, Ms. Nichols and I talked about making sure that some of our policies mirrored each other. And so this was one that the classified thought about in-laws, but we didn't want it to be in-laws, because someone could say my sister-in-law, my cousin-in-law, my brother-in-law. We didn't want to make it that specific, so we said parent-in-law, because again, when you have a husband or wife, most of the time you don't say, this is my, in-law, this is my mom. I mean, everybody says, this is my mom or this is my dad. And of course, when they do pass away, we wanted to have that latitude to just have parent-in-law added. That's the only change in this bereavement policy.
But it's the same, was the policy before the same in both books?
Yes,
Yeah, so you're
we
just, so
just added,
essentially,
parent-in-law.
both committees approved this change.
Yes.
The language before was identical, and you both approved the same change, so it would go into both books,
Yes.
starting July 1st.
I make a motion, we approve the bereavement leave policy.
Okay, just a second. Okay, Ms. Maynard has made a motion to approve adopt the classified and certified bereavement policy. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Tate has seconded. Okay,
Mr. Delaney, I'm sorry, with your motion, that we would like for it to go ahead. Some of our policies can go ahead
immediate.
and be put
Okay,
in.
well-
So we would prefer this to be put
okay,
in.
all right, so this one would be for immediate immediate adoption, basically. And that's, your committees have to be okay with that. That's not something we
Yes.
can do. So both of your committees are okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
For the record.
Okay, so the previous policy will start on July 1st. This one, if approved, if adopted tonight, will go into effect immediately.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Guess, are you okay with that?
Sure, absolutely.
All right.
Do I need to change my motion?
No,
He just added.
it's like Play-Doh. I'll just make it like I want it. Okay, immediate adoption. All in favor of this, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Our next one is PPC classified attendance incentive policy.
Mr. Delaney, I'm
Did I
sorry.
skip one?
The shared leave policy should have also been on there with the
Oh, that's the one that
bereavement.
Ms. Duff and I were, okay. Well, let's do the shared leave, sorry, I have an old agenda. So this is a double header, right, both committees?
Yes, we added, certified added the sentence and made some changes to what classified had. So this one, you may want to take it, well, I guess you could take it both. Okay. So with the,
We may do two motions on this one if they're slightly different.
right,
Okay,
yeah. The end result is the same, but it's
Oh,
just
okay.
for purposes of how it's written, I just wanted to make you aware of that. So you see that first sentence, it says spouses who are employees of the school district can utilize each other's accumulated sick leave by jointly requesting in writing. That's totally new for us. That whole sentence is totally new because that's a sentence.
For certified, you mean?
For certified, yes. But classified, theirs was a little bit different. It said employees of the school district who are husband and wife can utilize each other's accumulated sick leave by jointly requesting in writing. So the only thing, let me speak to, if you wanna.
Yes, so, once again, just to collaborate to make sure that each policy for both classified and certified mirrors each other, we did agree to share the same language in our policy. Instead of it reading employees of the school district who are husband and wife, we're wanting to change it for both policies to state spouses who are employees of the school district can utilize each other's accumulated sick leave by jointly requesting it in writing.
So, my question is, why is the second one necessary? It doesn't specify where we're saying that, so can any employee share leave
They
with
can,
another?
they can share, but with any, say if it's, me and you, I can give you shared leave, but I can only give you 10 days, up to 10 days.
So
But if it's husband and wife, there's no limit.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. You're gonna want immediate implementation on this too?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and make the motion. I move we adopt the classified and certified shared leave policy proposals for immediate implementation.
Second.
I made the motion, Ms. Maynard has seconded. Other discussion, questions? Okay, put it to a vote. All in favor of approving both the classified and certified shared leave proposals for immediate implementation, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, sorry about that. Next one is just Ms. Nichols and Dr. Williams. It's the classified attendance incentive policy.
Okay. All right, so this policy, once again, is an attempt for classified and certified to be mirrored with each other. In the classified policy, well, I'll start with certified. Once an employee retires, the policy stated that they would be paid out their sick leave at a substitute teacher rate, and their unused personal days would be paid out on a per diem basis. So classified, they did have where they would be paid out the sick leave, but on the classified side, we were not being paid out our unused personal days on a per diem basis. And so we are wanting to make sure that our policy is in line with certified as well.
Dr. Williams, I have a question about how personal leave works in this district for classified, for both, but if they're different, you can tell. So you get two.
You get 2 days.
2 days?
Everybody gets 2 days.
Even if you're like a 190-day employee, you get 2?
2 days.
Okay, so is there a minimum number of days you have to work to get 2, or if you're on?
You have to be considered full-time.
Full-time, okay. So if you get.
30 hours.
So so it's more or less fair to say that everybody that's full-time gets 2. And if they don't use their 2 personal days at the end of the year, do they roll over?
Now, if they are not retiring or resigning or whatever, they roll over to sick.
Sick, okay, so.
But, go ahead.
No, finish, I'd like to hear it.
Okay. What I do want to make you aware of is that unlike the certified personnel, as she said, they are paid out those personal days. With classified, what has been done, it's not in the policy, but what the practice has been, is they roll whatever personal days, which can only be a max of 2. They don't accrue. So every year, if you don't use your 2 personal, they automatically roll the sick. So if what has been happening is that if I'm a classified person, I retire, I have 2 personal leave days, they have been rolled in as sick and paid on the sick amount, which, depending on the person, may be considerably less than, their regular pay.
And so what we're proposing, or what classified PPC is proposing, that we do the same thing with certified and classified.
But isn't it, did you want to say?
No, go ahead.
Am I understanding it correctly that it's not feasible to have, mathematically possible for somebody to have more than 2 personal days at a time, right?
No, that's correct.
So, and this whole thing is speaking to if you retire.
Yes.
Right, when you retire.
Mhm.
So, you know, some of these have costs and things associated with them. But
Right.
it sounds like the cost of this could be capped at 2 personal days.
Yeah, it won't be more than that,
Okay.
period.
Yeah.
And the way that it's being done right now, just as an estimate, I kind of looked, because everybody's pay is different. You know, we had 30 people retire out of classified that could have possibly had personal leave left.
Yes.
And so if you just on average say that their daily rate of pay is $25, so that's $200 a day times 2 days. So we went through and looked at that, and so it would be like $12,000.
Okay.
But then if you subtract out what they're already being paid for the 95, which is the sub rate, it would be like $6,300 if that were, you know, where we were in the range.
So this really would only apply to a person who has worked for a very long time and is ready to retire, and those 2 personal days will be given to them at presumably a higher rate than the sub pay.
Yeah, if they have them.
If they have
Because,
them, right.
you know, a lot of people don't have them. You know, they need them for whatever reason, and they don't have them. But it is possible that all 30 of those people may have had 2 personal days.
Okay.
I know there's a little bit of cost associated to this, but I think it's important that the classified people, and we've heard an excellent presentation tonight. It's important that classified people feel that they're being treated fairly whenever you can do that, and I think this is a move that will certainly true up things for certified classified. So
Okay.
Make a motion
I
that we
would
approve.
recommend it.
Okay, Ms. Maynard has made a motion that we adopt the classified shared leave policy for immediate implementation? Okay. Classified shared leave policy for immediate implementation. To be clear, that's your committee's prerogative.
Yes.
And you believe that
Yes.
that's what they want?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ms. Maynard made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Smith has seconded. Questions or discussion?
Yeah, it's a.
Oh, sorry.
Incentive.
Yeah, sorry, Ms. Richards, good call. Attendance incentive, classified attendance incentive. That's what's on the floor. Motion and a second to adopt that recommendation from classified. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. There you go, Ms. Nichols. Thank you very much. Okay, we're almost to the end here. This one is mine. So, every year, till we are out of the desegregation case, I sent this email out, and it's on the agenda, but essentially, we pay the legal fees of the other party. And we've done that consistently ever since 2022, and then inconsistently before that. But it is an obligation that we do have, for the reason that Mr. Bates explained in the letter. I've kind of got your exhibits here and everything, but essentially we have received our yearly invoice from the interveners, and it's for $16,224.50, which is under their 150-hour cap that the judge set. So instead of bringing the attorney out and everything to explain it all, I tried to cobble this together and see if we could do it this way. So the attorney recommends it. If we don't do it, the judge is probably going to order us to do it. So I recommend that we do it. Okay. Ms. Ward has made a motion to approve. Sorry.
I think that was
Dr.
Dr. Tate.
Dr. Tate has made a motion to approve the DSEG fees for 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Smith has seconded. Discussion.
Yeah, question.
Uh-huh.
So this, this exhibit B, this is actually the court's wording. Because you
yes.
say you cobbled it all together, but.
I cobbled the packet together.
Okay, so what must PCSSD do to comply? Okay, that was the question the court left unanswered in 2021 on the remaining facility issues under Plan 2000. So this was basically because of the way Robinson was built and Mills was pretty much kind of,
No, it was, the order is about that, yes, but the reason we're paying the fees is, Exhibit A, which is because we lost the case back in 1982.
right, but it didn't help when the disparities of Robinson versus Mills happened. Y'all don't want to talk about the past? Oh,
No,
okay.
it kept us in the case longer. It
I
probably
know,
did.
I know. I wonder who helped do that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the DSEG fees. Any other discussion or questions? Okay, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the $16,224.50 in desegregation fees, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Second. Okay, we're down to our consent agenda. I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion.
Okay, Ms. Maynard has made a motion on the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Smith has seconded. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'm going to put us into try to put us into executive session for a second, just to go over our interview ease for tomorrow. So I make a motion pursuant to Arkansas law, I move we go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the employment of a public officer or employee. Okay, the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Smith is seconded. All in favor of going into executive session for employment, say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
5-2. All right. I'll be right back. All right. We good? All right, we're back out of executive sessions where no decisions were reached. That brings us down to board member comments.
Yeah, I got some comments. Number one, if I say something, I'm saying something factual. And I'm talking about things that are being done that people are just letting ride. But as far as me saying when I get ready to say something, I gotta hear, like what I say don't matter. I didn't serve on this board for 9 years to feel like what I say don't matter. But if you keep on poking the bear, and then to be disrespected and be told that I'm always late, baby, I'm out here doing service for the community. I'm doing something. I ain't late just to be late. I'm serving because that's what I want to do, is serve the community and to serve people. But to feel like, and Eli wasn't stopping nothing.
Yes, he was.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, Eli wasn't stopping nothing. Baby, let me tell you something. Eli wasn't stopping nothing. All he did was came and put the.
You scared me.
Oh,
I'm going home.
Oh,
I can't
my
take
God.
this anymore.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You keep on poking the bear, but when that explodes, oh, I'm so terrified. You put fear in me. No, you steady poking the bear. I'm probably the harmless person in the room, but you're not gonna keep coming for me. You don't disrespect me and tell me you always late. No, you could have kept that to yourself.
There's a lot of things you could keep to yourself.
Right.
But you choose not to.
Right. Because I could say you always on hate while you talking about I'm always late. I'm here to serve every kid. I don't discriminate against no kid. I don't discriminate because they don't look like me. Where Potter at? I guess she gone again too. But you have to tell her what to say. But we sitting around here, we applauding when somebody do something ignorant. And not once have I heard her apologize or say, I am so sorry for the statement that I made. But no, you are not apologizing because you feel like you was justified. And that's not right. Not one apology. I could see them coming and bringing her award if I'm so sorry about what I said. Oh, that was big of you. But no, ain't nobody apologize, but we steady just letting it ride. Just let it ride. But you're not going to keep on disrespecting me. And I don't have to do nothing to you. And you can feel like I'm all of a sudden I'm threatening. I guess because I'm black. I'm scared. Now, this is a lie.
This is unproductive.
Just like you, sitting on this board. Y'all gonna stop poking the bear.
I second that. I think that it takes a lot of courage as parents and community members and especially staff to get up here and speak in front of the school board, your peers, your fellow parents, and to advocate for what you feel is right. And a lot of times I agree, and sometimes I disagree with what people say. But I try to give the dignity and respect that you each deserve when you come up here and say it. And I think that it's a disgusting habit to not pay attention to people when they're speaking, when they say things that we don't like, because everybody deserves to have a voice. And the 3 minutes is not a long time for you to at least feign some interest in what people are saying. And so I think it's disgusting that we have people that sit on this board that don't pay attention to y'all when you come up and speak. They're constantly typing away on their Facebook or messaging, and not looking you in the eye and not hearing your voice. And so I think a lot of things need to change. I think you can see, there's a certain demographic that got up and left, and they vote the same way with the same agenda every time, which I can only assume is intentional and pre-planned, because there's no reason to vote the way we vote some of these times. Like, it makes no sense. So thank you. We're not supposed to name names with this stuff, but I've been fortunate to observe the trio in the buildings, doing hard work, doing lots of hard work, and making great accomplishments. And it's been a real pleasure, and hopefully it's not the end of people's presence in the district, but maybe we can find contentment in God, which is the only thing that we can do, and it doesn't always make sense. And the pastor this Sunday was just talking about contentment and how it's learned, and sometimes it's learned through unfavorable circumstances. And so I pray for each and every person who was affected tonight by the hiring and the transfers and the freeze and the rifts, and God bless all of y'all.
Is Dr. Tate still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, I make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 4-0.